Is UConn getting healthy at the right time, and could they make another run to the Final Four? The last 2 years has seen UConn battered and bruised with ridiculous run of injuries. However, at the end of 2022, they were able to get healthy and make a run in the NCAA tournament and go back to the Final Four, where they ultimately lost to South Carolina. Is history repeating itself again? Obviously, Paige Beckers and Ice Brady are out for the season, but are other UConn pieces important in making a run starting to get healthy? Well, they got their first big piece back in Caroline Ducharme. She was obviously rusty, but she was instrumental in sealing the win at the end of the game. But more importantly, she pulled up relatively well after the game, with Gino Ariema saying she had some soreness as expected, but overall she's ready to go against Villanova. Now the next big piece or question is, will Azzi Fudd come back this season? Now this is a really tricky situation, and we're going to take a bit of a deep dive on this and see some of the complexities with Fudd's injury and if she'll be cleared to play before the NCAA tournament. It seems long ago when the season started out so promising for Fudd, as she came out firing early with 26 points, 6 steals, and 4 assists against Northeastern, and then followed that up with 32 points in her next 2 games against Texas and NC State, who were ranked at the time. However, her season was derailed when she injured her right knee in a loss to Notre Dame on the 4th of December. In the second quarter, Fudd was setting up behind Aaliyah Edwards, who fell back and made contact with Fudd's right knee. Fudd went to the bench and then to the locker room in obvious discomfort. On replays, it appears that she suffered a hyperextension injury, and I suspect some sort of bone bruising to her knee. Her recovery was roughly 6 weeks. She returned to action on the 11th of January against St. John's and scored 14 points in 20 minutes and appeared to be on track to make a good recovery and lead UConn on a second-half run like she did the previous season. However, frustration again when Fudd re-injured her knee when playing Georgetown in the second quarter, when she appeared to get clipped by Hoya's Ariel Jenkins. She stayed on the bench for the rest of the game with an ice pack on her knee. Now with Fudd, information on her injuries is always a bit limited. However, UConn did report that scans were negative for any ligament tears and that there was no structural damage to her knee. On the 20th of January, it was revealed that Fudd would remain in a knee brace and non-weight bearing for 2 weeks. A timetable hasn't been given for her return, and I think that's a good idea, is we'll sort of outline as we go along. I'm going to speculate a bit on the timeline for her injury, but with this caveat that this is 100% speculation, just potentially how this might play out. Fudd is right now hitting the 4-week mark from her injury, as that will be on the 18th of February, which is by chance when they will be playing Villanova. It appears that she is recovering well from her knee injury. A brief snippet of her rehab from a video on UConn's Twitter account, which was featuring their mascot, Jonathan the 14th. This video appears to show a few things. One, that Dorka and Nikki Mule are the dog lovers on the UConn team. That's pretty clear. It could just be me, but Fudd looks a little bit nervous around this dog. But anyway, number 2, more importantly, Fudd is full weight bearing and has full range of motion in her knee. You can see her doing some exercises and appears to have full flexion. Now that is good. The next step will be for her to step on the court and start performing one-on-one drills and see how the knee reacts. Will her knee experience swelling or have increased soreness? If this happens, then they will likely have to shut her down, as the timelines are so tight it seems unlikely she would be able to play again this season. However, if all goes well, she'll hit the 6-week mark when UConn plays DePaul on the 26th of February. Could they start bringing her back on that weekend? That would give her a chance to play up to 5 games prior to the NCAA tournament. As well, this would be conditional on UConn making it to the final of the Big East tournament. Now, this is a very tight timeline with very little margin. Fudd's history will likely make UConn and her family super nervous and cautious, as Fudd initially injured her right knee following her sophomore season at St. John's College High School. Prior to the injury, she was dominating and was the first sophomore to be named the Gatorade High School Player of the Year. However, while participating in the USA Basketball Under-18s 3-on-3 tournament, she landed awkwardly, tearing her ACL and MCL. She made a good recovery from the injury to become McDonald's All-American during her senior year at St. John's before heading to UConn as the #1 recruit in the 2021 class. Fudd got off to a fast start as a freshman at UConn, but then her season was slowed by a right foot stress reaction which is a precursor to a stress fracture in the metatarsal bone of her foot. She sat out for 2 months, but then came back at the end of the season and finished the year with an impressive freshman campaign, averaging 12 points per game and shooting 43% from three. Now, UConn fans are obviously hoping for a repeat of this for this season, that she injures herself and then comes with a strong comeback and finishes the season strong. But it is really a concern that Fudd has suffered multiple injuries to her right leg in the last 4 years. As with any player, when they get injured, it is painful to watch, especially when they show the family and parents. You can see their concern and fear. They cut to the family after Fudd re-injured her knee against Georgetown, and the concern on Fudd's mom, Katie's face, was obvious. She knows better than most the impact of a knee injury, as she sustained her own knee injury, which put an end to her basketball career when she was trying to rebuild her conditioning after giving birth to Fudd. After this occurred, she put her focus on Azzi and helping her develop her as a basketball player. This was outlined brilliantly in an ESPN Outside the Lines doc. I've put a link in it below. You can see Katie is living her basketball dreams through Azzi. And for this to potentially be at risk due to a knee injury seems especially cruel. After Fudd returned from her foot injury at the start of the 2022-23 season, she seemed to understand the risk of injury better than most, saying, "Not only am I looking forward to playing healthy this season, but I want to play my next 3 seasons here, and I want to be able to play professionally after," she said. "It's not worth risking my body for the next few seasons." It will be a difficult call for UConn and Fudd in the next few weeks, even if she progresses well. Seemingly, if Fudd is fully recovered, then she will be cleared to play. However, looming in the background is that a knee injury can happen at any time. If Fudd was to re-injure her knee again, it could be catastrophic for her career. Personally, I think the risk is too great, and I'm hoping that they wind up shutting her down for the rest of this season. However, with that said, if she does wind up being cleared, nothing would be better than Fudd coming back and leading UConn to the Final Four in a rematch with South Carolina. I'm wishing Azzi Fudd nothing but the best, and hopefully she'll be back this season and dominating. We'll just have to see what happens. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe.